The Son of Man, Original Tom, Greatest Vessel, Bishop R, and Best Executive. Just who is R or Ultio R? That's what you came here to find. R is known for his manipulative persona and his wits, as he turns the whole executive team against himself and all the gods against Jade Emperor Okwang. So how strong is Ultio R? He was able to create an authority barrier, meaning a barrier with its own functions, such as the barrier reverting all damages done within to its original state. Even though an intruder invades his space via sheer force, the barrier is still in effect until cancelled by R. This domain has been calculated to be from city block to town level, with the damages done by R, according to Pacho. The original Tam is said to devour things on Earth. Just by existing in a world, he can cause an erosion that wipes all life on the planet, granting him existence erasure with planetary level ape. According to the Godoha game by NHN Entertainment, Bishop R, during his nocturnal time, was said to create his own dimension called the Blazing Black Hand, a void dimension that grants him free usage of his black flame, which alone grants him universal level placement. In the Ragnarok arc, R is strong enough to break the taboo. R showcases a high universal feat via obliterating the metaphysical system placed by the lords of the realm. The system represents the instructions or manual that humans shouldn't do, such as thou shalt not strike a god, thou shalt not be stronger than a god, thou shalt not fall in love with a god, and more. This system, called Taboo, represents the fundamental rule that safeguards the process of borrowed power and the energy stone. The same energy stone is used to grant eternal life to the gods and humans, connect spaces, and more. It also serves as one of the anchors of reality. It is shown to be imprinted in every human essence, a universal rule that all humans follow. The same energy is shown not only to encompass the human plane, but also the divine realm, as Shiva felt it. In Godoha cosmology, the heavenly realm or skyscrapers is described as a structural realm that exists within the same dimension as the sage realm. These two realms act as mirrors of each other. Within this dimension, the heavenly realm exists within a replica of Oreguk. Additionally, within that planet, the heavenly realm occupies a separate plane that is not part of the planet itself. Via Jin Mori, it has been shown to destroy and penetrate his Yui. You can imagine this situation as a bottomless pit that leads to the heavenly realm. HR is shown to split into 3 categories so far, which are lower stack, gate, and upper stack. Depending on the source you consult, HR is said to encompass 7,000 realms. However, if you refer to the game, the author's interview, or the Naver blog, it states that there are 1,000 realms. Note, don't dwell on it. According to Satan, the lower stack and upper stack are ontologically distinct from each other and can also be represented as a topological space through a ribbon strip that can be seen throughout. Everything encompasses the entire 7,000th realm in a continuous and unending flow, bridging into infinity for each layer. For example, the Mobius strip wraps around itself in an unending flow, illustrating the concept of infinity. Although it has a finite size, this does not mean it is finite as a whole. The limitation applies only to its size, not its flow. This grants the realm a high hyperversal structure at a low ball to Outerversal. If you argue that Taboo is absolute, and each stack holds ontological differences from layer, able to forcefully take the souls of the living and dead, and also those who are in their own domain, e.g. Baal, if we scale him to Odin, Beelzebub, and Satan, that is a different story. So that is 5D due to souls being high-dimensional, as spirit exists on a plane beyond the normal flow of time and space. Given space-time or space as a whole is 4D or high universal low multiversal, and the soul isn't bound by real-world logic due to they sitting on a higher sphere for interaction. Only those who are on the same tier as them could affect them. Therefore, granting him 5D or low complex multiversal, he has a non-existent physiological essence. According to Odin, the master of wisdom, who holds the knowledge of everything in reality via his crows, Hugin and Munin, calling the Tam physiology unexplainable by the Lord's understanding. You can argue for a higher layer into Outerversal level placement via Black Rabbit, which is a being that is said to be the source or origin of life, Rebirth, that has been consistent throughout the Battle of Gods arc. And if you watch the Absolute God Blessing and Curses, I pointed it, this is what some PS failed to understand, and most PS that I asked called it hacks, which were wrong. First showing occurs during the human selection via being able to ascend a human body by destroying and reconstructing, or she can configure the biology on the spot. Second occurs when she went to a random field called the Deer to wake up. And if you're caught up to the show, Deer turns his body into a black lotus tree alongside the people as a total annihilation to them. Not only did she bring him back, but she was able to rebirth herself and her team as she pleased. Also, she can feel the life energy from the dead, all that gets her devoured by avarice. Due to Rabbit being given that concept by Tathagata, who is an absolute being, so she isn't life itself, but the spring of life, meaning that she can rebirth beings, not revival. In power scaling, if an entity is described to be a concept, it either means they are the concept by name, such as Sung Jinwoo, who is dead but doesn't have any death-related power, or they embody a fundamental principle, making their abilities conceptual in nature rather than physical, which means the entity scales to that concept. Rabbit embodies the concept of rebirth, as this has been consistent throughout the series. Overall, she scaled to the concept. If you want to go a little bit higher into the irrelevant layers, into Outerversal, if you ain't satisfied, let go higher. Being scroll through the Naver blog or Korea articles for this, and then I found it. Statement proving that the Tam or Avarice is being an archetype. Even Odin's statement was not enough to explain its origin, a monster beyond game classification, even though the game dev are being a pain to deal with. Since they never depend on the premise of the question, it doesn't inherently mean they disagree. If you know the game dev as I do, dodging questions means you're on the mark, not rejected. Moving on, Tam is said to be above all game mechanics, which to high outer branching into boundless. Let's go further. Tam is said to devour all things, whether soul, essence, entity, system, concept, to mu, meaning nothingness, a state of something's absence or non-existence. The absence of nothing or non-existent is situated at a low-end high outerversal to boundless due to there is nothing after nothing, meaning no dimensional hierarchies, no concept, no speed, no life or essence, and no nothing due to it is the end of all things that beings and its origin. But sadly, R doesn't scale to it. Now for speed, he was able to go toe-to-toe with a weakened higher dimensional Jin Mori, the same Mori who was able to one-shot the infinite alter ego of Satan, who turned the universe white just by cloning himself over time. According to the author's interview, the number of clones was a joke. It was later corrected to infinite clones seen in-game via the NHN Entertainment, and Woncom's game industry holds 1-to-1 to the Webtoon IP. Therefore, R is infinite speed to MFTL plus power and abilities such as non-existent physiological essences, conceptual manipulation, life manipulation, death manipulation, absorption type 1-3, madness manipulation, biological manipulation, absolution 0, causality manipulation, darkness manipulation, aura manipulation, fear, existence erasure, and more overall. R is high hyperversal to infinite layers into outerversal with infinite speed via erasing the concept of rebirth, not reincarnation, and argument for boundless with irrelevant speed via Tam as the archetype of everything. If you like the video, let me know who I should do next. And if you don't, give your claim, evidence, and reasoning if that is it. So later.